Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I am your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Sparrows Escort Folding Jackknife Lockpick. Let's get into it. First off, to date, moving into this video, I have only reviewed the Multipick jackknife and the Slim Pickens jackknife from Covert Instruments. However, this is going to be a comparison video, and I have in my collection the Lockmaster jackknife from Wint, and I have the Pocket Pick from John Fowle and Martin Newton, and I have the Swick. So I have a total of 6 jackknives in my collection. This will be a very unique review video. The very first jackknife tool that I've ever used in 15 years was the Riv Pick, which was an expansion to the Covert Companion. So let's talk about that for 1 second. So the Covert Companion is not going to be a part of this review because this is a multi-tool. Let's talk about what a jackknife is and what it isn't. A jackknife is just a play on words with a pocket knife. And a pocket knife is not a multi-tool, but is an everyday carry pocket knife option. So a jackknife, pocket knife, same thing. And it's not meant to replace a fixed blade knife. It's not meant for tactical purposes. It's not meant for hunting or skinning. It's not meant for even cutting a steak. It's really just you have a pocket knife in your pocket for last ditch effort, or maybe it's for self-defense, though I would not want to use this in a real knife fight. I'd want to use an actual very large fixed blade knife, preferably a sword if I had the option, but I won't because you can't carry one in your pocket. So it's really just for when you're in an environment that limits your ability to carry a full size lockpick set, so you carry a jackknife lockpick set instead. It's not meant to replace a full size lockpick set, just like a pocket knife is not meant to replace a full size a full size blade. So a jackknife has its limitations, it has its time and its place. What it's not is it's not a multi-tool. A multi-tool is not designed to go in your pocket, though they come in many different sizes. As somebody that's been working in blue collar trades for the last 20 years, I have to, longer than that, 25 years, I have to tell you that the multi-tools are meant and designed to primarily go on your belt. Yes, they do make some of these with pocket clips, but these are really meant to go into a leather pouch on your belt. I would never carry one of these in my pocket. They're too heavy. They will pull down your pants, especially if you're not wearing a belt. Therefore, the Covert Companion, in comparison, is very similar to these multi-tools, and I would never put that in this same classification. I believe it is a multi-tool. On top of that, the Riv Pick, that is an expansion to the Covert Companion, is designed to be removed and used on its own. So this is the jackknife inside of the multi-tool, but that is what a jackknife is and what a jackknife is not. So people like to try to call comparisons, and I'm just trying to explain what the terminology is before we get into these comparisons here. So moving into the review of the actual Sparrows tool right here. So we have the Escort, and it retails for $95 USD. A folding lockpick set, next batch shipping January 4th. The Escort has everything you will need for when those unscheduled events occur. This folding lockpick set has a well-balanced combination of hooks and rakes and a tension wrench that is easily accessible. Some key features are a full locking bar for all the picks and a tension wrench that easily slides out a trap door. When not in use, all of the picks are locked in place and the tension wrench is securely held within the frame, giving you a tool that has a compact size you can easily incorporate into your everyday carry. Patent pending. Special thanks to Dominic for assisting with 3D printing all the prototypes and for his consistent feedback and input thorough out the Escort's design process. I think they meant input, and I don't know why they put thorough out the Escorts. It's just bad grammar and bad spelling. It seems to be common with products that I review from Sparrows. It is what it is. They're Canadian. I don't know. Maybe it's a Canadian thing. So that's the Escort. It's $95. We're going to talk about weight, size, practicality, comfort, but we're going to add one more to that. And I probably should have, let me look for something, a writing implement here. Here it is. We're also going to add retention because, well, that's going to be a thing. We'll talk about it. So let's talk about the weight first. So all of these tools, as I measure them in grams on my kitchen scale, all of these tools are going to be measured based off of what is the weight that we're putting in our pockets. And I kind of wanted to go at this like a backpacker because, you know, ounces equal pounds, as they say. So grams is the most functional way of measuring things that are this light. And let's go with the Sparrows Escort is coming in at 80 grams total. And that's super heavy. If you look at this list, that's going to come in about twice as heavy as everything else that's available on the market. I do not have Mad Bob's for any of these comparisons that I have because Mad Bob's is a terrible company and I'm still fighting to try to get product from these guys. They have $50 of my money, but I'm still waiting for product to be delivered. It is what it is. So Mad Bob's is not going to be in this comparison video. And yes, believe it or not, they're still in business, but they're operating off of Facebook and they don't return your messages. So the Escort 80 grams, the Swick is going to come in at 47 grams. And then which is half of the Sparrows Escort. So this thing is made of, I suspect to be a steel chassis. And then we have a polymer frame here. And that really cuts down on weight because the Swick has a total of 20 tools inside of it, while the Sparrows Escort only has 7. So the weight is all in the body itself. The Slim Pickens comes in at 40 grams, but as these weigh in your pocket, when I go to pick an actual lock, with the Sparrows Escort, when I go to pick a lock, I'm holding 80 grams in my hand at all times. Same thing with the Swick, outside of me removing the turning tools. But the 40 grams from the Covert Instruments Slim Pickens, that is non-existent when I go to pick a lock. It comes in at 6 grams for just the Riv pick, 6 grams. So this is the lightest in class overall. So if you're looking for something that's more akin to an actual lock pick, I would go with the Slim Pickens or the Riv pick that comes with that. 80 grams, man, it's going to be subjective, but that's nearly unacceptable. That's super heavy. That's super huge compared to everything else on the market. The Went Lockmaster is 32 grams, and the Multipick Jackknife Blackline Edition with the aluminum chassis body, and this guy is going to come in at 27 grams. And then we have the second lightest, or lightest overall if you're including the body, and that is going to be the Pocket Pick here at 16 grams. That's incredibly light. I'm quite impressed with the weight on that. But then again, at the end of the day, what are you actually going to be holding in your hand? So while you pick. So that is the weight. Let's talk about the size. All of these are going to come in at about the same size. They're all going to come in between 3 1/4 and 3.5 inches. I apologize, I don't have that in millimeters, but let's go ahead and get that. I can use my calipers here. Let's switch over to metric here. We are zeroed out. And for those of you that don't know the conversion off the top of your head, they're gonna come in at about 82 millimeters to about, I'm gonna call it 90 millimeters. So between 80 and 90 millimeters overall. So that would be the size. The practicality. Now, I think I really meant to say functionality there, but we can still quantify practicality. And the practicality is going to be how many tools are coming in these jackknife tools. Now, the object of discussion here, or subject, is going to be the Escort, and the Escort only comes in at 7 tools. So for $95, it's the heaviest tool on the market, and it has some of the fewest tools that are available of all the jackknives in my collection at the very least. So the Sparrows has a total of 7 working tools, 1 tension wrench, and 6 individual pick profiles. In comparison, the Pocket Pick has 6 in total, so 2 turning tools, 4 profiles. And then we have, let me make sure all these are still in view. And then we have the Multipick, which comes with, where did this go? Oh, this came right there. So the Multipick is 6 in 1, so 6 pick profiles and 1 turning tool. Then we have the Slim Pickens, which is 4 in 4, so a total of 8. So 4 turning tools, 4 individual pick profiles. Then we have the Lockmaster, 7 in 2, for a total of 9. So 7 profiles and 2 turning tools. And then we have the grand big daddy of them all, which is the Swick, for a total of 20 tools. It has a whopping 8 turning tools and 12 pick profiles. That thing is crazy. It is, however, going to be the largest as we are discussing size, and the Sparrows, oh, actually, the Slim Pickens is largest, and then the Sparrows is 3rd largest, I would say. But again, the Slim Pickens kind of in a world on its own with that riv pick there. Just kind of saying, hey, I'm not really a jackknife, but I kind of am. So that is that. I sometimes I wonder if I should have reviewed this, but I'm just trying to be fair here and say that this is what's actually fitting in your pocket, and this is what's fitting in your pocket, and this is what's in your pocket. But then at the end of the day, this guy comes out on its own. So that's the practicality or functionality of it. Let's talk about price comparison here. And I did my best to get everything correct. So the Sparrows Escort is the most expensive tool in the market at $95. The Swick is the 2nd most expensive tool at $89. And the Pocket Pick is $65, ordered from Martin Newton and John Fowl via email. And I'll be doing a review on that. And the CI Slim Pickens is going to be $55. And the Multipick Black Line is coming in at $54. And then we have the Lockmaster coming in at $42. I was very impressed with that price point there. So the Sparrows Escort is the most expensive jackknife tool on the market. It is the heaviest tool on the market, and it features some of the fewest profiles and turning tools on the market. Let's go, now that we're discussing price, let's talk about who this jackknife is for. Well, we have the little Timmy. Little Timmy is about 18, 19 years old. He is either still in high school or he's just graduated high school. He's working towards community college. Maybe he's trying to save up to go to university. Maybe he's joining the military. Maybe he moved immediately into construction, retail, or the fast food industry. He doesn't make much money. His budget is around $20 to $30. So what tool in here is going to be at that range? Let me take a look. And that none of the tools are going to be at that range. Now you can buy the Riv Pick for $25 by itself, but you really need turning tools with that, so nothing falls in that range. Really, the jackknife realm is going to be around $50. A majority of our tools are going to be $50. In fact, it looks like 75% of our tools are at $50. So Timothy is in his 20s. He has a girlfriend, maybe a fiance, maybe even married. He's about 5 years into his jobs. Maybe he's working on his first career. Maybe he's 3 or 4 years into his military. Maybe he's 3 or 4 years into college. This guy has a little bit more money to spend. Obviously, if you're not in college, you probably don't have a ton of money to spend, but he has a guaranteed paycheck. And that paycheck is going to give him about $50. And I really think jackknife tools are a really great option for the Timothys of the world. So we have the Lockmaster, we have the Multipick. Both of these tools are made out of Germany. So if you are in Europe or in the United Kingdom or in Germany or anywhere over the Atlantic from America, these are amazing options for you. Here, we also have this guy at $65, so that's still within that price range. And this comes from Martin Newton via email. So this came from the UK at $65. And then for the North American demographic, we have the Slim Pickens at $55. And that's it. This is really the Timothy price range right there. And then we have the Tim price range, and Tim is in his 30s. He has a mortgage. He has 3.5 kids. He's got a vehicle that's halfway paid off. He's got a 7-year note on a vehicle that he's 3 years into. And Tim says, you know what, I'm willing to drop $100 on a lockpick set, or maybe a jackknife tool that I can just throw in my pocket. Maybe he's a contractor working on construction sites, and maybe he has to deal with padlocks. Maybe he doesn't have time to wait for his employee to show up with a key, and the employee had to take the day off because it was his daughter's quinceañera or whatever. Listen, I worked in construction. Weird things happen, and these guys need these tools on them at all times. So maybe the $100 is his budget. For his options, he can buy himself the Swick and he can buy himself the Escort. I'm going to tell you right now, I would rather go with the Swick over the Escort. And if I'm not in the $100 range, I have these 4 tools to pick from. And these are really all great options. However, all of these are from the UK. Even the Mad Bobs that I'm still trying to get is from the UK. There's only one jackknife tool that in my collection that I think is worth owning at this point in time, and that's going to be the Slim Pickens. But if you have $100 to spend, these are your options. You're Tim, and this is what you're going to go with. I don't know why you would go with the Sparrows. It is what it is. So we talked about the weight, the size, the functionality, practicality, and we talked about the price. Comfort is going to be subjective. Comfort is going to be completely subjective. We all know that. However, the Slim Pickens is going to come out on top because this is the closest I'm ever going to get to an actual lockpick design. All of these are going to feel like you're holding a foreign tool in your hand over holding this, the Riv Pick. So I got to give it to this. This isn't meant to be to tell you which tool I think is the best, but I am trying to explain that when I am using this particular tool, it's a large chunk of metal that I'm holding in my hand versus 6 grams that I can hold with another tool, or 50% of the weight that I can use in a tool that's of the same price range, but yet, oh man, almost 4 times as many tools. Almost, we'll just call it 3 times to be fair, but this has 300% the amount of tools as the Sparrows. So the Sparrows is very heavily lacking. So let's talk about why do we buy the Sparrows, and what is compelling us to purchase the Sparrows. So the Sparrows is promising us that it has a full locking bar and that it has a tension wrench that slides out a trap door. So this is why we want to buy it. Is we are told that we want a locking bar and we want a trap door. Let's talk about the locking bar for a second. So yes, indeed, this pick is not going anywhere. It is indeed inside the locking bar. How does a lockpick work? Well, a lockpick is essentially a lever. A lever is made up of 3 components. We have a fulcrum, we have an effort, and we have the load. And that all creates the lever. So as we pick a lock, whether it is that we're raking or we are single pin picking, regardless, we're going to have a fulcrum either at the bottom of the keyway as we single pin pick, or right here where my finger is, or at this rivet right there. Either way, the rivet's pretty much going to be the fulcrum point, right there. If any, I would even say that if I'm single pin picking here and I'm putting force right here, I actually have 2 levers. I have a lever here at the bottom of the keyway, and I have a lever here at the rivet. It is not a selling point to me for a tool to lock in position. It doesn't emit more feedback. It's not going to take away feedback. It's just a marketing thing. That's all it is. I don't have any problem raking locks or single pin picking with my Riv Pick, and all it has is a rivet. It doesn't lock into place. All these other tools seem to have the ability to lock into place. Okay, these are all within the price range of the Riv Pick, but at $95, that's a selling point apparently. The Multipick locks into place. The Lockmaster locks into place nearly identically because it has this this blade back here, and this locks into place, and this locks into place, but this is in the same category as this. So yeah, every tool on the market locks into place except for the Riv Pick. But the Riv, I don't feel that it's needed to lock into place for it to work well, unless it's like sliding in and out. I think it's important that if this is sliding in and out, I need this to be able to not move. So, none of these are out the front openers like this one is. That being said, I don't feel like that's a very good marketing point because all of these lock in place. They all lock in place except for the Riv Pick. And based off of a lever design, it doesn't need to lock into place, but that's its selling point. The trap door. Okay, let's talk about the trap door. The trap door releases this turning tool. So I have to actually close this thing for this to function properly. But when I put my turning tool in here, works smarter, not harder. So there's a trap door here. I push on the trap door and I can slide my turning tool out. Is it needed? Well, I would call that tool retention, and that's why I wrote retention there. I think there's 2 forms of retention that need to be discussed. The retention is the first level of retention. Are you going to lose the tool? Are you just throwing it in your pocket, or is it going on a keychain, or does it have a pocket clip? What's the retention of the tool itself? Because it's an everyday carry item. The second retention is this turning tool right here. I think this is a gimmick, personally. I think it's a gimmick. So let's talk about the retention of Multipick first. So Multipick has the retention of just a pressure fit here. I do not feel like I'm going to lose this. And if I did lose this, I can buy it individually and I can replace it. It also has a hole here for a lanyard. So pocket retention, or if I want to put this guy on a keychain, that's the retention, and it's going to hold the turning tool just fine. That's the Multipick. The Lockmaster has a for pocket retention and a hole for a lanyard, and I think it's going to do really great in my pocket. And I cannot force these tools to fall out for the life of me. You really have to try hard to lose these tools. I think, you know, the only way I'm going to lose this is if I'm not paying attention when I fling the other one out. So there's plenty of retention here for the turning tools, and there's plenty of pocket retention on this guy. The retention of this one is amazing, actually. So amazing that I couldn't figure out how to use it in my unboxing video. So this actually uses a little key ring here that goes right here on the actual turning tools itself. You remove the key ring. So this is the retention. It goes on your keys. You remove the key ring, then you can remove the turning tools. Okay. And let's talk about, let's talk about the Swick. The Swick is actually the worst of all of these products for retention. If you slam this guy hard enough, I did it earlier in a video, just take my word for it. So if you slam this guy hard enough, you're going to lose one of these guys here. So the original design of these actually had, man, I can't even pull this out. Maybe I'm lying to all of you. So this originally was compression fit inside of here, and then they went with magnets, but they actually sell a 3D printed sleeve on their website. Just kidding, they don't sell it. They give you the 3D file to get it 3D printed, and then there's a note saying if you would like one of these made for you, let us know. So when I ordered the Swick, I added that in the comments to my order, and I didn't get the product. So now I have to go to a third-party entity to buy that. So, but you're not going to easily lose these turning tools. There's 6 turning tools right there. I still think this has great retention. All of these tools have retention. The Covert Instruments Slim Pickens has amazing retention, and I'm not going to lose anything at all overall. I've seen people try to make a weird comment that nothing in here stays and like, oh, like it just falls apart in your pocket. Nope, you're not going to lose the Riv Pick, and you're not going to lose the turning tools. They're just not going anywhere. Like I've been carrying this thing for weeks now, and they're not going to go anywhere. Like you have to take these apart for them to go somewhere, and everything in here is compression fit with 2 rubber washers right here. I use 2 rubber washers. That's how I put it together. That's what came with the package. For some reason, people are putting this together with 1 rubber washer and no spacer, or maybe it's a metal spacer. I don't know what they're doing, but I've never had an issue with this. I just pulled everything out and I just put it back, and everything here can be tightened. So everything here has retention except for the Sparrows Escort. There is no retention here. There's no lanyard hole on here to put this on a keychain. There is no way of adding a pocket clip to this. This thing just goes into your pocket. So maybe that's why you need this retention here for the turning tool. So, you know, I don't feel like that's a good selling point for the Sparrows Escort, and I can't figure out how to put this thing back in because it's a gimmick, and I cannot for the life of me understand what I'm doing wrong at all. Hold on. This is not intuitive. All right, so there's the whole, okay, there it is. Okay. I don't like the design of that. I couldn't care less about it, you know, flipping out when you press it. It's not worth the $95. So those are the 2 reasons why I guess you would purchase the Sparrows over these $95. It is what it is. So let's go to, okay, let's talk about something that's really important that is not discussed very often. And that's going to be the last thing that I have to show. And that is going to be the practicality. We talked about in the practicality all the different jackknives that have all the different tools. We need to talk about what makes a tool impractical. And you have to know that the tool has limitations. So for starters, the Sparrows comes with 1 turning tool outside the trap door. Why? What does that mean? That means I am probably only going to use bottom of keyway tension, which means I'm only going to be raking. This is a Brinks 30 millimeter, I think, purchased from Walmart. If I were to use the HD, which is a pretty low profile here, and I stick this tool at the bottom of my keyway here, and I stick this here, and I want to start single pin picking, I'm immediately going to start oversetting the first pins here. Same thing with this master lock. If I take this master lock, I put this keyway, bottom of keyway here, and I stick this in right here, I have to, like, I'm already pushing on the first pin. I have to go low and overset that first pin just to get this tool into the keyway. Now I can pick this all day long to my heart's content. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. But bottom of keyway tension is not desirable when you are single pin picking, when I'm trying to lift up, because I'm eating up all of the keyway. Now someone could say, but Sandman, some keyways are paracentric and you're gonna have to pick off of a warding anyways, and therefore you can get away with using bottom of keyway. You're absolutely right, but I'm not going to be using this on any paracentric keyways because this thing is ginormous. This thing is huge. Do I have any paracentric keyways here? Only paracentric keyway I have right here in front of me is going to be this Y1, and it just really eats up 50% of that keyway. And even though I'm picking off of the warding when picking a Y1 keyway, I'm also having to pick off the top of this because this thing is super wide. In comparison, I think there was one here that was like a Euro. I have to look. I can't remember. But, oh man, I have too many tools here to remember all of the functions of all these tools. But essentially, you're getting one turning tool and you're really kind of restricted to just raking. That's kind of a setback. That's not very good. In comparison, the Swick here, the Swick has 12 individual profiles, and I bought the expansion kit, so I have a total of 20 profiles that I can choose from. I have 2 turning tools here for top of keyway. Pull these guys out, and then check this out. I just trimmed my nails, so I'm having trouble. 1 bottom of keyway turning tool, 2 So the Swick comes with a total of 5 top of keyway turning tools and 3 bottom of keyway turning tools, and it is $5 cheaper than the Escort. The Escort is really not offering you anything that the market isn't already giving you for, what was this, like $54? It's essentially a ripoff of the Multipick black line. That's probably what I'm really going to get to here. So the Lockmaster has 2 turning tools. We'll do a review of that in the future. The Pocket Pick has 2 turning tools. The Covert Slim Pickens has 4 turning tools. The freaking the Swick has 8 turning tools. What is going on with the Sparrows? So the Sparrows only has 1 turning tool, and we're going to primarily use it for raking. So it's essentially a ripoff of the Multipick Jackknife. The Multipick Jackknife is the exact same in class. 6 profiles, 6 profiles. 1 turning tool, 1 turning tool, for a total of 7 or 7. What's the difference between these two? It is drastic. It is drastic. The difference is price. The difference is $50, or excuse me, $40. And the difference is 50 grams. Yeah, 53 grams in weight. So that's essentially what I think is going on. I'm trying to figure out who the Sparrows Escort is for. Who is it for? And I think it's for people that love Sparrows products, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's for people that like to collect and spend money on tools that they'll never use, like me. I buy this, it's never going in my pocket. It's too heavy. There's no retention. I can't put it on a keychain. I love that I can put this on a keychain. I love that I can put this on a keychain. I can put this on a keychain, and this, and this. Every single one of these I can put on a keychain and just forget about it. I can't put this on a keychain. So what is this giving me that the Multipick tool is not giving me? Nothing, absolutely nothing. I would rather have the Multipick tool for half the price and half the weight. compared to the Covert Companion. I would rather have the 4 turning tools that I can use for, oh man, I was way off. I was way off. Look at this. Huh. The Slim Pickens has 4 turning tools, but they're double-ended. So that gives it 8 and 4, that's 12. And I was way off. Didn't even consider that. That's important to consider. They could have done that with the Escort, but they didn't. The Swick. The Swick is amazing, but it's getting kind of large. You know, large Marge over here. And, you know, we'll do a full review of that. At the end of the day, I got to go with, this isn't meant to be a jackknife competition, so I'm not even going to say what I would rather go with. But I'm going to, yeah, if you guys haven't figured out, the Riv Pick, I think, is going to be best in class, best for the money, best for comfort, best overall for everything. And then we just have this crazy abomination that is the Escort. People are probably screaming at me in the comments, Sandman, this is supposed to be a review of the Sparrows Escort. Well, I can't tell you that this thing is hot garbage and then end the video. You guys would hate me and you'd say it's dishonest. And you'll say, he hates sparrows. So it's got to be a slow boil, okay? If I just throw that pan on high, you're all going to jump out of the fire. But if I do a slow boil and explain to you why this thing is hot garbage and compare it to the best tools in the market, maybe you'll actually listen to me and maybe you might be willing to consider and take my advice. If you are a big Tim and you spend $500 to $1,000 a month on tools like I do, by all means buy it and then put it on your shelf so that you can see sparrows on the side and never use it ever again, because that's what I'm going to be doing with this tool. If you are super sold on being able to do that, okay, then buy it. I can't find a reason to buy this. I can't figure out who this is for. It's for Timothy, but this is for Timothy too. And this is just a much better tool in that price range. This is essentially how do we fix this? This is a $30 to $40 pick set. This is essentially the Multipick jackknife, but the Multipick one is much better. It has better tool steel, and it's going to just be like half the weight, man. Like, it's just so much better. Half the cost, half the weight. This thing needs to come down in either weight or it needs to come down in cost. I think there's nothing wrong with having a very heavy jackknife. I don't care. Like, you know, I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall, 240 pounds on a good day. I'm fine with putting something heavy in my pocket, I guess. I'd rather have this on my keys, but I just feel like the price is just, who the hell's, where did they come up with the $95 for this? That's what I want to know. Anyways, I think I beat this thing like a dead horse. Let me know in the comments down below. What are your thoughts? It's the most expensive tool on the market. It's the heaviest tool on the market. In comparison, for all the Tims in the world, it just doesn't offer the same practicality at that price range compared to the Swick. And therefore, I cannot recommend this product to anybody. I think it's garbage, and I think they're taking advantage of us. I try to do reviews where they're super objective and completely honest, but every time I do a Sparrows review, it just sounds like I'm shitting on Sparrows. So from now on, moving forward, I'm really going to have to just throw 20 different products on the board and on the table and explain to you why it's garbage and why we're being taken advantage of. That's what it is. This is just a big fucking money grab. Sorry for cursing. It's a big money grab, and I think it's hot garbage. I don't think it's worth buying. If you have 45 bucks, there's so many other products you can buy on the market. If you're in North America, I would recommend the Slim Pickens. If you are in Europe or Germany, I would recommend the Lockmaster or the Multipick jackknife. At this point in time, I don't have a lot of experience with this tool. I don't have a lot of confidence in this tool. I don't know what type of tool steel it's made out of. The profiles seem a little thin. I just don't have the confidence that this very thin aluminum is going to hold up over time for durability's sake. I just don't think so. But for $45 to $55, you can get some really great options on the market for the American or the European market. If you want to spend $100, if you are in the $100 range and you want to get the Swick, if you want to spend $100 on a jackknife tool, get the Swick. That's what I would recommend. And that's made of a 301 high yield stainless steel. I think for $100, this is where your money should be going. So that's where I'm at. Let me know in the comments down below. Did I do Sparrows dirty? Let me know. that's all I have. Hey, everybody, thank you all so much for watching. And if you made it to the end, I was going to say something funny, but I ran out of funny things to say because this was a terrible review. That's it. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Mr.